this year. And of course, for those who got small refunds, if you haven't watched my live before, for you to understand why your refunds was lower this tax season than any other tax season. So let's start with why so many people are owing. So the reason why so many people are owing is because the W-4 forms that you fill out with your employers, you are not filling that form out correctly. It's funny to me, or it's not really funny, but kind of crazy to me, how many people have not paid income taxes because they did not understand how to fill out that W-4 form. And I know that I promised it before, but I'm definitely going to do it this time because I've seen so many taxpayers owe this year, especially my single taxpayers. I've seen a lot of young people who just started filing taxes. I've seen so many people owe this year that I feel like it's going to be imperative for me to actually come in here and do different videos. Now, what I might have to do is I might have to pre-record them and then upload them and not necessarily go live. But it's going to be important for you all to go ahead, if you have not adjusted your W-4 form, for you to adjust your W-4 form so that you're not in the predicament that so many people was in this year, and that is end up owing, or basically not getting that much of a refund. Now, the thing that I need to say is that with the W-4 form, it's not one size fit all. Like, everybody tax situation is different. And so honestly, it's going to be really, really hard. And I see a lot of people trying to do it. It's going to be really, really hard to make sure that by you watching a video that you get the exact thing for yourself to fill out your W-4 form correctly. Why? Because again, one size do not fit all, and everybody's tax situation is different. And even if I do one scenario about married couples, one scenario about single people, one scenario about head of household, it doesn't mean that that's going to be your exact situation, because everybody's situation again is different. But what I want to say is, as far as what I have seen that a lot of people are not doing, that is incorrect when it comes to the W-4 form, is these couple of things right here. So the first part of the W-4 form, when you get a W-4 form, you can watch the video with the W-4 form, or you just kind of can know what I'm kind of talking about based off what you might see on your W-4 form. Okay, so the first part of the W-4 form is pretty much you just filling out your basic information. Now, that might seem very simple to you, but one thing that a lot of people are not doing correctly when it comes to just filling out your basic information is the address that you put on your actual not tax return. Hi, I'm Claire. On your actual W-4 form, if you are the type of person that moves often, or say you're just temporarily away from your home, like say you're a college student, and you're away from home and you're filling out a W-4 form, and you might stay at a different address, it's not always good to put an address that you're temporarily staying at, or you only might stay at for a year. And you might have a permanent address of someone like your parent, maybe you're either your sister, your brother, people that you know that you can get mail at that's not getting ready to move, right? You might want to utilize their address just for your W-4 form, not necessarily for you filing your actual taxes, but possibly for your W-4 form, because that way you're able to get your W-2s on time at the beginning of the year, which is an issue for a lot of people. One, you filled your W-4 form out a long time ago, your job might not do online W-2s, and then they mail your W-2 to the wrong address, and then it's taking you forever to go try to get your W-2. That's one issue. So make sure that when you're putting an address on your W-4 form, there is an address that you actually can get mail at any time, right? Especially if you're a person who likes to move a lot, or again, if you're like someone who's temporarily away from your home. Then the next part is about the filing status. Now, this is the funny part, right? Because a lot of y'all don't know what your filing status is, especially my married people. Like, a lot of y'all don't file with your spouse. So you might not necessarily need to do married filing joint when you select your filing status. Why? Because you're not filing with your spouse. So you should not be checking married filing joint if you're not filing with your spouse. You should be filing single or married filing separate. That's one of the biggest mistakes y'all are making. You're selecting married filing joint as your filing status, and you're really not filing with your spouse. So that's one thing that I've seen that was probably is an issue. The other thing is head of household, and I think we talked in the previous video before of people who might not necessarily file head of household, and you might be filing single because of the fact that you don't live. I mean, not that you don't live, that you don't have or meet the criteria to file head of household. So go by what your actual tax return says, or what you usually are filing when you file your tax return when it comes to your filing status. That's one rule of thumb. Like, don't file what in your mind you think you're doing. Look at your tax return and see what was the filing status that you used that particular year, and then utilize that. Now, your W-4 form, you should be able to update all the time. If you need it to be updated, because your tax situation can change. But just make sure that you're selecting the right filing status. And the reason why you want to select the right filing status is because based on whatever filing status you select, that's how they're going to adjust your withholdings. And usually the way the new form works is they do not take taxes out until you exceed your standard deduction for that particular filing status. So that's why a lot of you are seeing like, oh, okay, my job didn't take any taxes out on me, right? And that's because they're going by that particular filing status, and they're going by that standard deduction. Now, I don't know if any employers still use the old W-4 forms where you only write down your different allowances. Some companies could possibly still use that. So this is not for that particular thing. This is for the new W-4 form that came out in 2020. And that's particularly if you go start a new job, or your employer suggests that you fill out a new W-4 form. This is a W-4 form that you will actually get. Now, the next section is a section everybody be skipping over. But this section, for real, is the reason why you end up owing. Okay, so in that section, it asks you, do you have multiple jobs, or are you filing married? And then it tells you to do two different things. So if you have two jobs, then with those two jobs, what it's going to do is it's going to recommend you do a certain type of calculation. Or if you're married and you and your spouse do not have, you and your spouse does not have the same income level, like your income is not the same, then it's going to allow you to do a calculation. Now, most of my married couples are skipping this area. This is why they're not taking out enough taxes on you. If you're filling out the new W-4 form, you as a married couple, especially if you're filing joint, this area needs to be filled out. Because if you're not filling out this area, this is why you definitely don't have enough taxes taken out. Now, when I have time, I'll do the pre-recorded videos, and I'll actually put numbers and show you how that actually works. And then you have an area that asks you about how many dependents do you have. It asks you how many dependents do you have under the age of 17, and then it asks you how many dependents you have over the age 17. And of course, you all are, putting that amount times 2,000, and then you put in that amount in your W-4 form. Well, that could be a problem too, because they're already calculating your child tax credit to where it's kind of like you kind of getting it during the year, because they're not taking the taxes out that they need to take it out. So this is where if you want more taxes taken out, you might want to kind of play with that and manipulate those numbers. You might, if you got 3 kids, you might not want to put 6,000 in there. You might want to put 2,000 in there. Because what ends up happening, if you have not paid taxes, then when you come and file your taxes, then you're going to end up owing, because usually the child tax credit helps you get money back, especially when you make over a certain amount. But if they didn't take any taxes out, when it's time for you to file, they're going to eat that up and pay for the taxes that you did not pay during a year if you have a tax liability. Then it's an area that's under that talks about adjustments, and those adjustments are for people who have a self-employed business, a small business, and you have a W-2. It gives you an area where you can get taxes taken out or calculate the fact that you have income, other income. It has where you might get money from other income outside of a business or a job, which is like retirement income, interest income. And there's a lot of y'all do get interest income, has retirement income, and you're not getting no taxes taken out, right? And this would be a good area for my older people who get Social Security. And you know, you're supposed to, if you get Social Security and you make over a certain dollar amount, you're going to get taxed on that Social Security. So if you're being taxed on that Social Security when you file your taxes and you didn't know why, right, and you end up owing a big amount, this is a place where you can do some calculations and get enough taxes taken out so that the money that you're getting taxed on your Social Security, that you're able to actually take care of that without having to go to Social Security office and contact them to have them take out voluntary Social Security. So because I don't have the W-4 form in my hand, again, I don't want to talk too much about it in reference to it. So because I know you can't see it, and that's not good, because you need to be able to see it to be able to know what to do. And I know it's a lot of questions in reference to how to fill out it correctly. But I promise you, once April the 18th is over with, I will sit down the very next week. And I promise you all, I will do videos in reference to you being single, you being head of household, and you being married. And upload those videos so that I can have them on this page, so that when you are changing jobs or if you need to go make the adjustments to your W-4, then you're able to do that. But the biggest reason why so many people are owing and refunds have been extremely low this year is definitely because you are not filling your W-4 out correctly. And we are just got finished with the first quarter, going into the second quarter. This is the perfect time for you to go make adjustments to your W-4 form, so that if you were one of the people that owed this year, or one of the people that got a small refund and you wasn't happy that you got a small refund, because some people is okay with the fact that they got a refund they didn't owe. But if you were not happy because you did not get a bigger refund, then again, now is the time for you to go adjust your withholdings. Now,